Hey everybody! So today we're going to be talking about Capricorn energy. Here's the card for it. And when I say Capricorn energy, I am not just talking about Capricorn sun sign people. I am talking about Capricorn energy in general. So when you think about it, like, you know, how I've mentioned before, the planet is what energy needs to be expressed. The house is where or what area of life that energy needs to be expressed through. And the sign is how that energy needs to be expressed. Capricorn is one of those hows. So how does Capricorn energy express itself? And how might any planets that fall in Capricorn in your chart, how might they express themselves? And of course, what is being expressed would depend on the planet that we're talking about. But okay, so Capricorn, when I think of Capricorn energy, and Saturn energy, because Saturn is the planetary ruler of Capricorn. I don't know how many of y'all watched Breaking Bad, but I think of Mike from Breaking Bad. He, in my opinion, personifies Capricorn and Saturn energy. Especially his no more half measures speech. And even if you haven't watched the show, the idea of no half measures, of not taking half measures, and always taking a full measure on anything. That is very, very Capricorn and Saturn in nature. Capricorn energy really is no half measures and no half-assing of anything. This energy does not want to express itself in a half-assed or half-measured way. It just doesn't. It is the sort of energy that works its ass off and goes all the way. Which, depending on what's going on in the chart, can be a really, really lovely thing, or it can end up driving the person into the ground or feeling like it, not literally into the ground, but, you know, driving them so hard that they burn out. It really just depends on what all is going on in the chart, what house Capricorn is on the cusp of, where Saturn is, how it functions. Since whatever house Capricorn is on the cusp of will then bend to Saturn in the chart. So that energy, Capricorn energy, does function in a no half measures or no half-assing kind of way. It is also serious. It takes things seriously. It expresses itself seriously. It expresses itself maturely, or it wants to, right? I mean, you might be thinking, I know some people with, you know, planets in Capricorn that they're not serious at all or mature at all. And it's not always the case, but that is how the energy wants to express itself. You know, whether or not that actually happens depends on the whole chart, but it wants to express itself that way. This energy is all about, it's about mastery. It's about authority. And when I talk about authority, you know, it's your own authority, right? How you express authority. But it also has to do with, the way you might respond to other people's as well, or how you just respond to authority in general, to things that have authority over you. I don't know. For instance, somebody that maybe had Capricorn on the cusp of the third house, the areas of life in that house, like logical, rational thinking, learning, collecting information, all of those things, they might be expressed in an authoritative way, in a serious way, right? Or they would want to express themselves in maybe some of those ways, or what have you. Capricorn energy it's ambitious. It is achievement oriented, goal oriented. It plays to win. and it's not necessarily in a competitive way like Aries or like Mars can be competitive, but it does play to win. And this might be against the person themselves. You know, just in like a competition with themselves, perhaps. I see this energy kind of manifest that way too. Now, being achievement oriented is great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great quality about Capricorn energy. But there can also be never being satisfied that goes along with this, which again can cause the person to kind of burn themselves out or drive themselves into the ground, perhaps in the area of life that Capricorn rules, you know, is on the house cusp. That could happen. But so the concept of being never satisfied is something that this energy does need to keep an eye on. Because kind of like with Virgo energy is very naturally driven towards perfection, wants to express itself, or expresses itself, I say it like that, expresses itself in like a perfectious, sorry, in a perfect kind of way. Let me figure out how to fucking speak English. Capricorn energy can express itself in that never being satisfied kind of way, which that can you there has to be some point where you're satisfied with something that you're, whatever it is you have to be at least somewhat satisfied. So there's that. This energy is very realistic. It's an earth sign. It's grounded. Realism and realistic. Let me see what else we have on the card. Okay. So this energy can be a little bit pessimistic. It can be. I prefer, well, and it also depends on what's going on in the chart. I feel like there's just, I feel like you could look at it as either realistic or pessimistic depending on how you want to look at it. But sometimes Capricorn energy can be just right out pessimistic. More glass half empty than half full. Sometimes that might be necessary. For whatever reason, there might be a necessity to it. But it's when that becomes all consuming and you're so pessimistic in the area of life that Capricorn rules or is on the house cusp, that's when problems can arise. You want to be realistic, but you don't want to be so realistic that you end up being pessimistic and you can't see anything good. There is kind of a poor man's complex with Capricorn energy, and I don't mean literally being poor or whatever, but thinking that you have less than you really do. This kind of goes back to being never satisfied. But there can kind of be a poor man's complex with it. So perhaps, I don't know, let's say you've got Capricorn ruling the second house. You might be a little bit more, you might have a little bit more of that poor man's complex in those areas of life that the second house has domain over, like your self-worth, your own value. You might have a little bit, you might believe that you are worth less, or feel that you're worth less than you actually are. You might also, you might feel like you don't have as many resources as you actually do. So yeah, I do find that there is, and that, you know, depending on what house this could, you know, okay, like if you had it on the fourth house cusp, there might be a little bit of the same sort of poor man's complex, or feeling like you're lacking in some way in the domains of home or family, or perhaps never being satisfied with those things. And there may be very good reason for that. I mean, if you grew up in a difficult environment, that, you know, I'm not saying that it's never warranted, that this feeling is never warranted. There usually is some reason for it psychologically as well, you know, somewhere else in the chart. But you do need to, that is something to watch for. Whatever house Capricorn is on the cusp of in your chart, watch for that tendency to have kind of a poor man's complex. And try to flesh out, other than just having Capricorn on the cusp of that house, maybe try to flesh out why that is and how you can tailor how you see that house, and see that it's probably more rich than you are perceiving it to be. Same thing with any planets that fall in Capricorn. Let me see if I missed anything. Okay, yeah. Capricorn energy is pretty crystallized. I know I mentioned it's grounded. It's very crystallized energy. It's hardened, if you will. I don't mean like hardened like a hard person, but it's crystallized. Makes it steady. It's steady energy. But there can also be an immovability to it. How, you know, if this energy is expressing itself in such a crystallized way, you need to make sure that there's also flexibility there as well. Where Saturn falls in the chart might give you more of an idea as to if there's more flexibility or inflexibility in terms of that. Is the person really, really rigid in that crystallization? Or are they able to be a little bit more flexible when they need to be? So yeah, there are a lot more on this card, but I'm going to stop there because this is already at 12 minutes. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. We are at Let's Fuck with Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Paterno Astrology on Instagram. If you're watching this on Instagram, you can find us on YouTube at Let's Fuck with Astrology, searching that in the search bar. If you do the Reddit thing, you can find us on the subreddit, Let's Fuck with Astrology. And if you're interested in the star cards, you can go to letsfuckwithastrology.com/star-cards. Okay, everybody. I'll see y'all later.